paid for months, for example, in our county governments. Stakeholders are Kenyans. And therefore, if you allow me, Honorable DK, because we are taking minutes, we are unanswered, let's not be conclusive on any matter. What I mean is that the point Honorable Dr. Udo would have is talking both to this mediation committee, but also talking to other stakeholders. And therefore, in that regard, I would request we open the debate and say as it is, as I keep saying, so that after all is said and done, we have a solution. And a solution, I am convinced, because I've attended other mediations, is not here. The solution is after here. And therefore, let us act at the back of our mind when you are acting and speaking. Speak having the House in mind. Speak having the stakeholders in mind. But also, don't limit your debate to the solution of this meeting. Expound it also to other stakeholders so that they understand where every person is coming from.
I sit here as a former governor for 10 years. I'm a senator. And the realities that should inform us, we do not legislate with emotions. We legislate for posterity. We legislate so that whatever we do can outlive the test of time in terms of objectivity. If you get to understand, maybe if you ask, and don't even press the mic when the chair is talking, so that you can pay proper attention in terms of what we are discussing.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki made his maiden address as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya 5 days after taking oath of office at the KICC. In a 25-minute long address, the Deputy President pledged his loyalty to supporting President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. The second in command also expressed his support for public partnership projects, PPPs, saying that it is a way to finance the country's development projects. Kindiki came into office after the courts upheld the impeachment of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
As I assume the functions of the esteemed office of the Deputy President of Kenya, I pledge to support and assist President Ruto to canvass, defend, and accelerate national unity, but also to canvass, defend, and accelerate the implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda on which his administration was elected 2 years ago. I will work with my colleagues in the cabinet, as I have done in my previous role during the past 2 years, as we look forward to opening a new chapter in our collective effort to deliver the economic transformation and empowerment of the people of Kenya to realize better standards of living. I have had occasion in the past few days to ponder on how the orderly transfer of authority as called for in our constitution takes place seamlessly in our country. I realize that my ascent to the office of Deputy President has taken place on the back of a hotly contested constitutional process. For weeks, the country was glued to parliamentary and judicial events whose completion is a testament, or was a testament, to our country's democratic credentials and the integrity of our constitutional institutions.
At the same time, the DP has officially handed over the Interior Ministry, giving a status report of his 2 years in office as Cabinet Secretary for Interior. Kindiki said while in office, bandits have been overpowered and scattered, as well as preventing terrorists and other criminals from causing harm to citizens. The former CS also stated that Lamu and northeastern Kenya are much safer thanks to the anti-terrorism units stationed in the areas.
Demonstrated how for 2 years, every day of my life, I have struggled to secure the country from crime and from people who would have caused us harm. And I have told my journey, the places I've been and what has took me there. the work I did in immigration and other places. At the end of my statement, I have said, as I exit that office, I'm exiting at a time when there are reports of cases of mysterious disappearances, abductions, and femicide. And I have handed over the responsibility of cracking down on those emerging reports of crime. And I wish him well, and I know he will succeed. The same way in the past I've been able to handle those other national security challenges. Remember, these are challenges that we've witnessed in the last few months, and already we had gotten ourselves on a place where we had come up with a strategy of cracking down on this criminal behavior, the same way we succeeded, even with the Nairobi urban crime, which was quite a spiral at the time we took over, and which today is manageable. And therefore, these are developments over the last few weeks, maybe a couple of months. We had laid the ground on how to deal with both cracking down on criminals who are in that space of femicide or abducting people, and also a framework for accountability of any rogue officer or officers who will be involved. And therefore, that should be the task of the next minister going forward. I have no doubt I have done my best every day of my life, and there is no day I have slept without asking myself what I have done to make our country safer.
Still on matters abduction and the security status, Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja says the National Police Service has recorded 57 abduction cases since the youth-led demonstrations began on June 18, 2024. Appearing before the Committee on Administration and Internal Security, the IG dismissed reports of police abducting and killing Kenyans who were linked to the protests, citing that the officers always engage in lawful arrests. He referenced cases of public figures such as activist Morara Kebaso, journalist Macharia Gaido, and politician Jimmy Wanjigi were sensationalized as the officers followed the law when making their arrests.
And previously I made it clear that police don't abduct, police don't kidnap. Police only arrests, and we detain in the lawful facilities, that is within police stations. And after that, investigations are commenced immediately. Those who are found that they meet the threshold of being taken to the courts, they are taken to the court. Those who does not meet, they are freed immediately. So that is the procedure. So the issue of kidnapping and abduction is not there in the police. So normal police, the National Police Service has since recorded a total of 57 cases of kidnappings and abductions that were reported countrywide from June 2024 to date, as shown in the table below. Number one, we have got all the 57 cases are detailed there.
President William Ruto and African Union chairperson candidate Raila Odinga attended a breakfast meeting early Thursday in Addis Ababa, meeting with African heads of mission accredited to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. President William Ruto has called on African leaders to be creative on how they can enhance or can finance, their institutions to ensure sustainability. Odinga, on his part, asked leaders to implement resolutions so that rhetoric and actions are brought together.
And all the times there are two things that are all the times at play: sovereignty and unity. In my view, those two things should not be competing. They are complementary. And if we find a way of dealing with that issue AU will be able to work for the people of the continent. 1.4 billion. In the next 20 more years, 1/3 of the population is going to be living on this continent. And Africa is the richest continent on the planet Earth in terms of resources. The paradox is the richest is also the poorest in terms of living conditions of its people.
We can leverage on the UN and the assessed contributions in the UN to fund AU peace operations and the AU Peace Fund. It expands our horizon of sustainability.
Now, this is a story of a lifetime. While thousands of KCAC candidates in Kenya take the exams, Terry Charity, a student at King David Junior in Secondary School in Juja, faces a unique challenge. With a serious heart condition, she takes her exams with the help of an oxygen cylinder and tubes, a lifeline she has relied on since the national exams began last week. Terry's parents, Lucy Mumbi and Paul Njiru, start each day early, meticulously preparing their daughter for the exams. Terry is unable to walk and must rely on a hired taxi to get to school from their rented home in Sewage Estate near Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Terry's father recalls that health complications at birth left her unable to walk, prompting her enrollment in a special school, which she finished after 8th grade. Her academic performance was outstanding, qualifying her for a prestigious high school.
Mwaka wa 2024. Utasikiwa hapa na mtu. Alisaliwa kama watoto wengine, lakini ikifika wakati wa kutembea tukakuta kuna changamoto. Kwa hivyo hakuweza kuwa na wakati wa kutembea. Lakini ilipofika wakati wa kupeleka shule tukampeleka shule. Amekuwa na changamoto ya mwili hapa na pale. Tunampeleka anatoka, lakini sasa ameenda wakati amefika kidato cha form 3 aingie form 4 ndio alipatwa na shida na tukampeleka hospitali.
We would appeal to Kenyans to really support this child because she's a lover of education and progress, and that is one thing that catched our eyes, and that is why we are here to support her. Apparently, if for that cylinder we refilled with 5,500, and it happens every 3 weeks. And then zile mashini mliona ziko huko kwa nyumba zina consume a lot of power to a point where the parents are paying, I think, roughly 8 to 10,000 to KPLC. There's also medication, 8,000 per month. Every month they are supposed to take her for clinic. She cannot use the public means or a taxi. They have to use an ambulance because of the oxygen. The ambulance charges them 6,000, so that's 6,000 per month. There is also food, you know. Mama yake anauza kibanda, anauza skuma and all that. And because of currently when sasa Terry anahitaji, because in the morning they have to go with her, they make her settle, ni wao wanajua zile mashini, hizo mashini venye ziko zina connectiwa, and in the evening wanakuja wana disconnect mashini themselves and then go with her.
Remarkable story, and we wish Terry all the best in her examinations, and we know she will pass with flying colors, and she'll be able to do so much more ahead as well. Now, 5 students taking their KCAC exams at Makande Girls Secondary School in Mombasa were rushed to hospital after they ran out of breath in the morning before their first paper on Thursday. This is after they inhaled some hydrocarbon gas whose origin was not immediately established. Hydrocarbon is the gas used to make paint. The other 84 candidates were forced to move to the neighboring Makupa Boys High School. Ibrahim Basafar, the Mombasa County Chief Fire Officer, said they received a distress call from the urban police boss, Maxwell Agoro, about an obnoxious gas leak at Makande Girls Secondary School at around 7:15 a.m. The girls are, however, said to be out of danger at the moment.
Sasa He's a small boy. They are now in stable condition, although we had one who was on critical condition when we were moving her from the scene.
And it was around 7:15 when we received a distress call from the OCPD Maxwell Agoro. We activated the ambulances, we activated a team of fire and rescue, then the hazmat team. So you can see the multi-agency here because we have also EPRA around. We have public health and health officials around. And we were all here to make sure, number one is to make sure what type of gas is on the air and how we are going to handle it. But with the machine, it has detected that the amount of gas as we speak now, it has gone low and is no longer poisonous or dangerous to anyone. For now, what we'll do, we are going to condone the area, but the area that we suspect that there is that gas, because we have a team of investigators here, because like behind me is Odo is in charge of high risk. We will, in charge of police and DCI. So we will condone the area, investigate, and once we get to know who is the culprit, so definitely we'll take action, because the authorities here, EPRA, ourselves, police, DCI, and health, and definitely we'll take action and take who is responsible to court.
A rallying call has been issued to citizens to give Form 4 KCAC candidates the best environment that will enable them to write the examinations without disturbance. This was spoken by Assistant Commissioner Samuel Osodo in his office in Sirisia, Bungoma West, as he said it would be better if candidates are given the best opportunity in the entire examination process, while asking them to report any cases that may hamper the exercise.
We opened safely. All the vehicles that were transporting exams were accompanied by security officers to every examination center, and the center managers, who are also principals, also came on time, all of them, and we released the morning exams. By about midday, all the exams were brought back, that is the morning exams, and they were safely locked in our container. In general, security of the schools that we have taking their exams is okay. We have ensured that apart from the schools, we also have general security patrols, so that we ensure that there is safety in Bungoma West.
To the corridors of court, the High Court in Nairobi has directed a petition challenging the impeachment process of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to be mentioned in January next year. This after the petitioners asked the court to wait for the Court of Appeal's decision in a case in which Gachagua is challenging the decision that ruled that Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu did not violate the Constitution when she appointed the 3-judge bench. The matter was fixed for further directions on January 23rd, 2025. This comes after Gachagua'S appeal case against the formation of the 3-judge bench. The 3-judge High Court bench by DCJ Mwilu was set for hearing on or before December 20th, 2024. In the Court of Appeals Wednesday proceedings, presided over by Justices Patrick Kiage, Agre Muchelule, and George Odinga, Gachagua sought that his matter be heard on priority basis owing to its public interest nature. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris has sought to reassure her supporters that while they did not win the United States presidential election this year, the fight is far from over. Her address on Wednesday night, Kenyan time, was the first time Harris had spoken to her supporters since Republican candidate Donald Trump won the race. By early Wednesday, the race had been called for Trump, who passed the threshold of 270 electoral college votes needed to win the presidency.
At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. and loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best.
Interesting debates globally on whether or not Donald Trump deserved to win the seat, or was it supposed to be Kamala Harris, varying views from, all walks of life across the world on the just concluded U.S. elections. And I believe the final tally now puts Donald Trump at about 319 electoral colleges that he's won now so far. But does it matter? He got to 70 and he's now the president-elect. Now, family members, friends and colleagues of an Eldoret lawyer, Calvin Gaira, who was allegedly murdered by a colleague during a house party in Eldoret 5 years ago, staged a protest walk in Eldoret town, as well as at the High Court, demanding speed prosecution of the case. The protesters accused defense lawyers representing the accused of applying delay tactics to derail justice.
We have come here to remind the judiciary that justice delayed is justice denied. Kwamba miaka mitano sasa familia haijapata haki in a very clear and open case.
Tema kesi ilianza 2019. Kwa hivyo hata ingekuwa baadhi ya ule ushahidi ungetangulia hapo mbeleni.
Mahakama itufanyia justice kwa our own brother ambaye aliaga kwa njia ambayo inaeleweka, na waliohusika pia wanaeleweka, wanajulikana. So ombi letu tu kama familia na marafiki ni kwamba haki itendeke na itendeke kwa haraka, kwa maana imekuwa inatuweka chini sana kama kifamilia.
The State Department for Technical, Vocational Education and Training, TVET, has started incorporating green skills into the curriculum. The department Principal Secretary Esther Moria said the government was implementing the new module through its relevant agencies. She at the same time asked TVET trainers to ditch lecture halls and reduce paperwork in line with resilience building against climate change. Speaking at the Rift Valley National Polytechnic when she officially opened the Rift Valley Region Competency-Based Assessment Workshop for trainers, Moria encouraged tutors to embrace digital teaching technologies. The PS was accompanied by the Chief Principal Sami Chemoiwa and senior officers from the Kenya School of TVET, Competency-Based Education Training, and the Kenya School of Government challenged the trainers to be proactive in implementing CBA curriculum.
Our young people, and we decided as government under the directive of His Excellency the President that all our youth in the technical institutions have to go through competency-based education, and that is skilling them in every requisite skill, because that is what we as a country is going to rely on to develop to the next level of development, as has happened to all the developed states such as Germany, such as South Korea, and the tigers, the 5 tigers, they have depended on a skilled workforce. What we are doing here is training the trainers in competency-based assessment. It is not just sitting down in a large classroom and writing examination. No. We have to have what, for example, we call the portfolio of evidence arrangements, because like the Minister for Foreign Affairs said, it's not a one-day issue. We have to have the requisite arrangements in place. We have to, and that is why as a department, for ourselves, for me and these people who are standing here, our responsibility is to make sure the young people have the skills. As the other departments organize about what it means to go and work in Germany, what is needed. We are even training in German language, like in this institution and many other institutions, we are training in German language. So for us, it is ensuring readiness for us to go there as the bilateral arrangements and the discussions are taking place.
Public health officers in Bungoma County have urged the county government to recognize their vital role in controlling the spread of chronic diseases, including cancer, malaria, and mpox. Speaking after the completion of elections for their new leadership, the officers emphasized the importance of increased support to enhance their capacity in managing public health threats. The health workers who work on the front lines of disease prevention have called on the Bungoma County Governor, Kenneth Lusaka, to prioritize their welfare by employing more public health officials, offering salary increments, and formally recognizing their contributions in safeguarding the health of county residents. The officers also appealed to the Ministry of Health to honor their commitments made by the Council of Governors to hire more public health workers on permanent and pensionable contracts.
We are asking the ministry, and we don't want to go on strikes because these are things which are very simple. The ministry was to set up a budget for these colleagues, the UHC, to ensure that they're employed, including even the CHAP. We have a conducted staff called the CHAP and the UHC interns who are actually previously hired and they were given contracts. So we are asking the ministry to do the honorable thing, employ the UHC on a permanent and pensionable basis.
We have PHOs who have been working in terms of being volunteers for long, and those guys are very well trained. They have the requisite expertise to work and promote the activities of public health.
These are the key soldiers in all the sectors, like the recently upsurging mpox that is threatening the lives of our people. We stand forth to make sure that this department is there at the border and even inside the county to prevent these things to happen.
Nothing much has been invested in this department, and we are praying that our leaders, going forward, we pray that you allocate enough resources for this department so that we can deliver. Prevention of disease is key, but we have given priority to curation or curing of diseases.
Now to sports, President William Ruto inspected the construction progress on Thursday of the Talanta Sports City Stadium and said the sports facility will be completed before the end of next year in readiness to host the African Cup of Nations in 2027. The stadium will serve as the main venue for the opening and closing ceremonies as well as some of the AFCON matches. The project will redefine Kenya's sporting profile and result in an iconic facility and infrastructural upgrade for Nairobi City and the nation at large. Well, folks, I'd love to wrap it up at that point tonight. I hope that you're duly informed on what is making headlines across the country. For more news, you can visit our website. That is www.ebntv.co.ke. Thank you for watching tonight. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. God bless.